Ready.
Let's talk about pricing of perishable items. Perishable items, the word perish literally means what?
To die.
To die, that's right. So if I'm perishing, that means I'm dying. So there are perishable items, which mean if you leave them out very long, they look pretty tired. All right? So the book says perishable items are things that have a short shelf life. Fruit, flowers, pastry, that sort of thing. So we call them perishable items. Now, when we sell perishable items, we know from experience that a certain number of them are going to go bad. Let's look at this example. It says, Audrey's Bake Shop baked 20 dozen bagels. So she bakes 20 dozen of these, and it says that she expects 10% of them to become stale. Now that's something she has learned from experience. In other words, she brings these bagels out, sets them out in the morning, and by the end of the day, there are usually 10% left that nobody will buy because they look stale. They've been sitting out all day. So that's something they'll give us in the problem, something that a store owner would have to learn from experience. So we bake 20 dozen of these. We know that 10% will go bad. Now, it costs her $1.20 for each dozen bagels. That's how much it costs her time, her utilities, her ingredients to make those. And it also tells us she needs a 60% markup on cost in order to make her desired profit and stay in business. So there's a little formula or a little table in the book that gives you step by step, and I'm going to shorten that a little bit. I'm going to say the first thing we need to find the total cost of all the items. Okay. So we find the total cost of all these items. And to find the total cost, if we know how much each item costs, then how would we find the total cost? Yeah, we'd say we got 20 dozen of these things, and each dozen costs us $1.20. So our total cost is how much? It'd be $24, wouldn't it? All right, so our total cost is $24, and we're going to mark that up, what percent?
60.
Yeah, we're marking it up on cost, so we need a 60% markup on cost. Where does our 100 go?
Cost.
Yeah, it goes on cost. So we find the total cost, and now our markup would be how much? 60% times 24. At $14.40?
$14.40.
Okay, and so our total selling price would be how much?
$38.40.
$38.40, does that sound right? All right, so the first thing we do is we find the total cost, and in this case, it was $24, wasn't it? The second thing we do is we find the total selling price. Total selling price of all those items, and in this case, it was $38.40, wasn't it? All right, so we have this total selling price. Now, here's the idea. The question they will always ask us is, what should she charge for each dozen bagels? In other words, she's got these groups of things and she's got to stick a price tag on them. And we need to know how much should she charge for the price tag. Now, here's the idea. She had 20 dozen bagels, didn't she? So if all of them were going to sell, she needs to make $38.40. So if we're going to sell 20 things and we need to make $38.40, what would we do to find out how much we price each thing?
Divide by 20.
We'd divide by 20, wouldn't we? So if we knew that we were going to sell all 20 of them, we would divide by 20, and that would give us the price per item. There's a problem here, though, isn't there?
The 10%, that's
We
bad.
know that 20 are not going to sell, so here's what we do. We take the total selling price that we just found, and we divide it by, not the total number of items, we divide it by the number of good items, the number of items that are actually going to be saleable. So, we take the total selling price, and we divide it by the total items minus that percent bad. Okay? Does that make sense? We've got these 20 dozen, and we know a certain percent are going to go bad. So our total selling price, let's bring it up here. Our total selling price is $38.40. And we're going to divide that by 20 items minus 10% of those items that go bad. So 10% of that would be 2, which means how many dozen are actually going to sell? 18 are going to sell, aren't they? If you punch in on a simple calculator 20 minus 10%, it'll say 18. Or we could say 10% times 20, 2 dozen are going to go bad, and we subtract those. In other words, we need to make $38.40, but we're going to have to make it from 18 dozen instead of 20. All right? And because we don't know which 2 dozen are going to be left over, we have to put the same sticker on all 20 of them, even though 2 dozen are going to be left over. So let's take $38.40 and divide it by 18, and that's going to be the answer. That's going to be the answer. And what does that turn out to be?
213.
213 to the nearest penny.